What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Confederacy of Dunks basketball podcast. I am your host, Freddie Rivas, here on Raptors Republic. This is a game show, always has been, always will be. And shout out to my co-host and producer, Andy Hull. Andy, what's up?
What's up, man? I love getting a shout out while you're on the thing with the person. It's nice to have that happen.
Yeah, it's a delayed shout out. It's important, you know.
Someone call it an instantaneous shout out. I'm right here. I did it. Okay.
Yeah, it's instantaneous. Felt good. Felt natural.
I love it. It's
slick,
nice.
Even. We got some awesome guests. Oren Weisfeld. Oren, what's up?
What's up? We're matching, Zulfi and I, so that's pretty nice.
Yeah, didn't even
know. It's a little purple burgundy.
You guys didn't get the memo, but we got it.
Burgundy hoodie.
No, I'm wearing a Beavis and Buntheads shirt, which is a base softball team I made up.
Nice. Yeah, but thanks for having me, guys. As I was saying, haven't done a pod in a while, so I'm excited to get back on the ones and twos.
Yeah, welcome back. Welcome back.
And hear what you're spinning.
Yeah.
Zulfi, what's up? How you doing? Thanks for joining.
I'm good. Thanks for having me. Like Oren, I'm excited to be here. I don't think I've actually really done a game show pod before, so I'm excited to give it a shot and see how it goes.
Sweet. Well, we're gonna play one big game today, and then we'll see where we're at. But Andy, why don't you take it away with your classic game? You know,
my classic game, the big board. Yeah, listen, it's a bit of a truncated version of the show today, but so we're jumping right to the big board. You guys, you've seen it, you love it, you know how it works. I'm going to put up the big board. It's going to be a bunch of teams and numbers, and we're going to be trying to name as many, if not all of the things in that category. Scoring points along the way. We're going to see who can win. The numbers are each worth, each correct answer is worth 2 points, but if there's a red number, that indicates that answer will be worth 3 points. So let's take a look at the big board.
We need a big board.
Big board.
You know what? I think it's better if we all did it.
Trademark that.
A different one at the same time.
Yeah.
We all do different ones at the same time.
It's a really big fucking board. Yeah.
Okay, so as you can see here, we have the category this week is most triple doubles in the NBA playoffs, and this is all time. So there's a few treats for the old heads on this one, I'll tell you. So how's your classic NBA player knowledge? Hope it's up to snuff. I'm going to run down for those just listening. We have 12 teams on the board here this week. So this is the top 12 players who have scored the most triple doubles in NBA playoffs. We have a Los Angeles Laker with 30, a Cav at 28, Denver Nugget with 18, a OKC Thunder with 12, a New Jersey Net with 11. Then we have 4 players with 10 triple doubles in the playoffs. We have a Maverick, a Warrior, and 2 Celtic players. You don't need to call which of the Celtics you're calling. You can just say a Celtic with 10, and then it doesn't matter which one's ahead, obviously. We have a San Francisco Warrior at 9. I wonder who that could be. I'll tell you the team here because this logo is super weird. It is a Cincinnati Royal at 8. If you know your Cincinnati Royals, that should be kind of easy, actually. And then there's another Boston Celtic with 5, with definitely an older logo. I'll just say that is a logo from a different era. The logos are indicative of obviously the era the players played in, and they are also indicative of the player, the team that the player has played the most games for. So this is interesting because usually I start with Freddie because he has 0 points, and you guys would usually be coming into this round with a bunch of points, so we're letting him play catch up, but I'm not one to break tradition, so Freddie is going to get to start first here. But Freddie, this could be the one you win.
This could be the one.
I'm excited for you.
I'm pretty excited for me too. I will say that the Cincinnati Royals logo is absolutely terrifying. I don't know if I've ever looked at it up close like this. It's kind of like a King Cake Baby vibe. It's no good.
Yeah, like a failed Disney character, but someone didn't care to color it in. Yeah, it's like just the outline. It's really
just a swollen blimp vibes. But
and our 3-point shots are all 3 Celtics. and the Cincinnati Royal. So if you can nail those, you get your 3-pointers.
Okay.
And I'll add what I feel like Andy says this every pod, but usually the 3-pointers are it's hard or it's significant.
It's a little bit harder, or it'll be somewhat significant. In this case, I did pick the 3 Celtics because it's going to be tough to figure out of all time Celtics, perhaps a little bit, which one is where and that sort of thing. So we'll see. Because if you extended this list, boy, do you have a lot of Boston Celtics on the list. So who do you guys know the top ones? Anyways, but it is kind of crazy that within the top 12, we go from 30 triple doubles to 5, which is like, that's just the top 12. That's a crazy swing of numbers there. Crazy difference. Anyways, Freddie, you're up. Let's get our first player up here.
Okay, so I'm just gonna try and get points every time up, and so I'm gonna start with the one I'm the most sure of, which is Cleveland Cavaliers. Got to be LeBron James.
Hey, if you're playing the big board and you see the Cleveland Cavaliers logo, there's a pretty good chance it's the king. Yeah, LeBron it is at 28 triple doubles all time. Puts him. That's good for number 2 on the list. All right, Oren, what about you?
So just real quick, if I make a mistake, am I done or do I keep going on my next
No, you
turn?
keep going. You just
In that case, I'm going to risk it for the biscuit. I'm going to take a Boston Celtics 10. You said I can just say 10, right? So I'm just going to say
one of the
10.
10s. Yeah.
I'm going to say Larry Bird, the Lair Bear.
Okay, is one of the 10 triple doubles Larry Bird?
Gotta be one of them.
From downtown. It is one of the 10s is in fact the Birdman. Yep, Larry Bird, of course, all-time great. All right,
Lair Bear is nice.
It's over to you. That's what they called him, I think.
That's what they all call him.
I think that's what most of them called him. Yeah,
yeah.
He really loved that nickname.
It's kind of sweet.
He really leaned into it.
Yeah.
Zulfi, what about you, man? What do you got for us here?
I mean, hey, I'll take another risk. Cincinnati Royals. I think of one player. I'm gonna go with Oscar Robertson.
Cincinnati Royals. I mean, when you get these weirdo logos, it's usually the one player you can think who plays on the team, and that's no different. Yeah. It is Oscar Robertson this time. Yes.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you.
2 trays.
I don't know my Cincinnati Royals history.
I was literally the only one I know, so I had to go for it.
I only know it from watching NBA trivia stuff on social media. Whenever the Cincinnati Royals comes up, it's always Oscar Robertson. Okay, Freddie, you are behind.
Wow, shame on me.
Yeah. Playing it safe this time didn't work out. Usually Freddie goes right for the threes.
I do usually go right for the threes. I think I got too safe. But you know what? I'm just gonna again. I'm gonna stick with my plan here. I'm gonna go every time around. I'm gonna try and get points. Lakers 30. I just because it's a triple double. I know Lakers usually is where people mess up because there's so many.
A lot of players.
However,
kind of surprised there's only one on the list, to be honest.
Yeah, same.
Because of the nature of his game, to me, it has to be Magic Johnson.
That would have been my guess too.
Does it have to be Magic? Does it in fact have to be Magic?
Well, I guess not. Shit.
It certainly does.
Okay,
Magic. You are right. It is
because I bet you a bunch of those are like 14 points or something.
Yeah. Just Magic. Yeah. Okay. All right, Oren. We're rolling hot tonight. Everyone, we don't have a miss yet. So Oren, let's keep it going here.
I don't know. What's the strategy like to go easy or harder? I don't know. I'll just go Denver Nuggets, Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, same thing. If you see a Nugget on the list, oftentimes it's the Joker. Yeah, and you got that correct as well. I know that's 2 for 5 all day for Oren. Okay, Zulfi, what's it going to be? We still got 2 threes up here.
Yeah, the Celtics ones are tricky. There's names that pop up, but you can envision many guys there. But I'm gonna go with the New Jersey Nets with 11, and I'm fairly confident this is Jason Kidd.
Yes, 11.
Yeah,
11 triple doubles. Is it Jason Kidd? It is Jason Kidd. Of course it is. Very good. Very good. I guess another name or two possibly it could have been, but no, I think Kid was the choice there easily. Okay, Freddie, back to you. You've got 4 points to Oren's 5 to Oren and Zulfi's 5.
Okay, still not taking a risk. I think my strategy is to, when it gets down to it, we'll see if people make mistakes.
Okay, slow and steady wins the race here.
I think OKC again because of the nature of his game. Russell Westbrook.
I mean, this is the category for him, isn't it? And you're correct, of course it is. Yes, the triple double, the master himself. It's
the master.
All right.
Now
so there's the top 5 gone.
Yeah,
we have our Maverick, our Warrior, 2 Celtics, and another Warrior, a San Francisco Warrior.
I will take a Celtic for 10. It could be an old head, and I could get, Kevin McHale might hurt me on this, but I think it's Jason Tatum for 10.
Ooh, interesting.
Interesting. Okay.
McHale would have been my guess.
Jason Tatum has been in a surprising amount of playoff series.
That's true.
That's true. Since he was young, too.
It is very true. And I'll tell you what, that logo has lasted a long time, the current logo. That's been their logo since like the 70s.
Oh.
And I'm just saying.
No.
But no, it is not Jason Tatum. I'm sorry. It is not.
Okay.
Okay, there's our first strike, first miss.
Zulfi, brother.
What have we got?
The thing is, even if I wanted to go with Kevin McHale, I don't know if I'd go for 10 or 5. I feel like either makes kind of sense. But, I'll try to stick with getting points on the board. San Francisco Warriors, it's got to be Wilt, right? Wilt Chamberlain?
San Francisco Warriors. Yeah, there's a good chance it's Wilt. Yeah, he's played more games for the Warriors than any other than for that franchise. Although they did move while he was playing for them. Anyways, yes. Okay. Well, first miss is Freddie's strategy gonna pay off here?
It might.
You're back around, buddies. Back around to you. Mav, Warrior, 2 Celtics. What's it gonna be?
Okay, I'm gonna go with the Mav. And this is a really high number for how long he's been in the league. So I feel like this might be my first miss, but I am going to go with Luka Doncic.
I think so.
It's not a bad guess.
Is it someone that they would trade away? Do you think they would really? Why would they trade away the guy who has this tied for 6th all-time triple doubles in the playoffs?
Great question.
Well, they did because it is Luka. Yes, it is. And there he is.
Let's talk about that for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It's been a lot more than 30 minutes talking about that, to be honest.
Yeah.
One of the all-time sports stories. It's nuts. But yes, there he is.
Yeah.
In his the every time I look at the players pictures to download for this, and I guess they just recently put his Lakers jersey one up there. So there he is.
Yeah.
Rub that into the Mavericks face there.
I still can't believe that people don't realize that the Mavs won that trade, but yeah, it's crazy.
It's tough. Yeah. Well,
It's a win now move, right? The Mavericks that are in the play-in at this point.
And they will be winning now as soon as injuries are
It's a long term. It's a 3 to 4 year long term. When we're gonna
absolutely.
Be dead, but
all
right.
Okay. Well, Freddie's up there with.
I have no confidence in myself after what I did last, because I was pretty confident in Tatum having 10. So
I'm so scared of the Celtics.
I'm gonna go with the Golden State Warriors. I'll stay away from the Celtics, and not as easy as you would think. But I think sure. I'm gonna say I think I'll say Draymond.
That would have been my guess too.
This is how you know these guys are hoops fanatics, because of course it's Draymond. Yes, he's the
okay.
Double.
Now I'm kind of done for this game.
Yeah. Although I think McHale is one of them, like we said.
It's
I don't know which one.
Okay, I guess I can try to big brain this because Andy, you said the logos match up. So I'm gonna go with McHale at 10 because I'm assuming if Larry Bird's logo is the same, McHale's around the same time. So I'll go based on the logo. I'll say McHale had 10.
Okay, Kevin McHale, the big man, once starred on Cheers. Great Cheers cameo from McHale. It is not Kevin McHale. Sorry, fellas.
Okay.
You guys seem pretty locked in there, and that is not the Celtic we're looking for in that spot. Okay, and our second wrong answer. Only the two Celtics remain. One from, again, the current / from probably back to like 1978, I think, logo. And then we have another Celtic at 5 with a definitely older logo. I can't even remember what years it is, but it's it's just before
that. there's a name that pops up when you think of really, really old Celtics. Should be a decent guess.
Okay, well, can Freddie pull it off here?
Is it me? Okay. So yeah, I think the Celtics one's tricky. I'm going with I'm going to go for the 10, and I'm just trying to think of the people who do this stuff and not necessarily the superstars. Going with Rajon Rondo.
Not bad guess.
Ooh,
Didn't think of that.
okay. Well, this is a little bit of being on a regular game show podcast knowledge paying off, because it is Rajon Rondo.
Wow.
Yes.
Good for you.
Yep. I believe we had a triple-double like themed question a couple weeks ago or something, and yeah, Rondo pops up a lot in those ones. So yeah, good job, Freddie, for remembering that. That's a 3-pointer for you. So what are the points at right now? What are we?
We got I got 11, and it's they're tied at 7.
Okay. Ooh. Well, if the game is over.
This is my day, guys.
Wait, don't I get one more guess?
You do, but you can't even catch up. But we will still guess to try and get.
Yeah, we're behind
points-wise.
Points-wise, your strategy was just...
This one counts for 4. This one counts for 4 because it's
so we can tie.
Let's do it.
All right,
let's say this is the 4-pointer. Let's see who can get this old.
It's your turn, Oren.
Okay, Oren,
I'm
you
just
are
gonna
up,
guess Havlicek.
Well, that's a pretty good guess, because it is correct. It's John Havlicek.
Wow.
In there with 5. Yeah.
I would not have gotten that, so you earned that win.
Well, okay. I mean, without the 4-pointer is definitely a Freddie win, but you know what? If it's a 4-pointer, that's a tie. So I love it. I love that it happened. And I love that Freddie still hasn't won, because we changed the rules right at the last second.
Yeah, shame on me. Just a Celtics question is, I'm getting totally blurry here. Like, when did Robert Parrish play? Was he with?
He was around the Bird era, wasn't he?
So he's not. Yeah. Okay. Then, like, as far as ancient Celtics, I feel stuck. Like, who?
Well, my guess would have been Bill Russell. Yeah, Bill Russell would have been my guess.
Russell's is one of them. But
didn't they not count blocks?
Like, exactly. I think the not counting blocks in the old days really hurts the big men for this.
And also, no way he's getting like 5
big men didn't used to
games.
Maybe, but he definitely wasn't getting the assists, right? Blocks.
No way.
Because big men weren't really like diming up like 10 assists a game back then.
But yeah, and if you look at it, like look at these guys. This is the top 12 all time. So even when we did start counting blocks, it's not like Hakeem was on this list a ton. You know what I mean? Like, these are guys who your big blocks guys aren't even showing up on this list really. So I mean, Hakeem had a good number of playoff games, right? So yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a very interesting list, dominated by current players, but then in that bottom tier, you just have some of those really old guys showing up. So, you know, maybe we have to re-examine our recency biases when we're making these greatest players of all time lists, because maybe we should be including some of these older guys on there a bit more. Good job, though, guys. Good job. We nailed it. I wasn't sure if we're going to get all of them this time.
We crushed it.
You know, some of these older players.
We crushed your board, dude.
Throw a curveball. But great job, everyone. Great job.
Well, you know, since we got a bit of time here, let's I mean, I've basically just been yelling at my family and friends about the Brandon Ingram.
This is not a basketball thing.
I was gonna say,
not at all about basketball.
Just light
stuff.
Oh, you mean because the election that happened?
Yeah, I've just
got some live stuff going on.
I've just been screaming at Doug Ford.
They told me to take my pills, but I wasn't.
Doug Ford is my family, and I've been yelling at him,
pleading with me.
But Yeah, I think I'm just going to throw it out to both you guys. Maybe I'll go to Zulfi first, but with the Brandon Ingram trade, did you go through a roller coaster of kind of like, will we sign him? Oh my God, we signed him so quick. Is he going to fit? Like, because for me, I think it seemed like not as much of a gamble as it was played, as it sort of played up to be. Like I kind of thought when we made the trade for him, it was sort of a done deal that we were going to sign him. Will he fit? I think, sort of time will tell, but I feel like this was more of a long play move than how it got talked about. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think I'm in the same boat. I think I guess like accepted the reality of the situation, for lack of a better phrase, like maybe sooner than some. When they, like you said, Freddie, like when they made the deal, you kind of expect there was either some kind of conversation that was had or some understanding of like what a contract negotiation was going to be like with the player. And the Raptors have shown to work pretty fast when it comes to this kind of stuff. Like after they brought in Ochai and Kelly, they re-signed Kelly in like not, I think it was only a couple weeks. Granted, it's a little different. Canadian guy. You obviously know he probably wanted to stay here. But yeah, they like to take care of business faster and then figure out, like, I think a lot of people have had differing opinions on the whole like financial aspect of it and what the outlook is going to look like. So I think for the Raptors, the sooner you have that number, the sooner you can start figuring those things out. So for them, it was a bit of business they wanted to take care of.
Right on. And Oren, yeah, do you feel like, did you go through any sort of roller coaster with this Brandon Ingram thing, or do you have big feelings about it? Do you like it?
Yeah, I guess it's been a bit of a roller coaster in the sense that now I'm excited to see him play, because when I watch the Raptors, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the way that this season has been, and because it's kind of been labeled as a tanking season the whole time. I am struggling to find new developments to get excited about. I feel like, all the young guys, the rookies, I think they're really exciting, but they kind of are what they are going to be this season. Like we've seen it all season. And then RJ quickly, Scotty, I don't know. It's just like, I feel like, yeah, I kind of know what we have right now. And Ingram is the big X factor. Don't know how he's going to fit in. Don't know how he's, just don't know how kind of good he is going to be in the system. And yeah, when it first happened, it was kind of like just coming to terms with, yeah, they want to get ahead of free agency. And even though it kind of seems to go against the purposes of a tank, they didn't pay a whole lot for a guy who is really talented. So I'm excited to see how it comes on the court. I definitely have my reservations about it. Like, again, I don't mind what they paid for it, but I also wouldn't be surprised at all if it just doesn't work out, because Ingram's not an easy guy to fit into your offense. He scared me a little bit playing for Team USA at the World Cup, just because he really wasn't able to fit into like an off-ball role there. And so we'll see. And I'm curious also just to see how the distribution gets divvied once he's out there, because I'm frustrated at times with the way it's divvied up as is. And so when he comes in there, maybe it'll just be a little bit more natural and everyone will have kind of more balance towards like get shifted down a peg in a sense. But yeah, I really don't know. I'm curious to see.
Right on. And I'll just throw this to the group, I guess. But is it the right, like, do you feel like it's right of me to say that when we made, like, by the time we made this Ingram trade, the Raptors have already successfully tanked? Or do you find yourselves in the camp where it's like, well, it's not successful unless you're close to that, like 16%, or wait, is it 14%?
14, yeah.
14, sorry, yeah. So I guess for me, I feel like they've lost enough games that when they made this trade, it's like they're gonna get a young guy, and like I don't know how they could, like, I get it that if they sat all of their players, it would technically give them a higher percentage at getting flag and that's awesome. But I also just feel like it's like this is sort of a guy that if you feel like it's going to work, you get, and also assume you're still going to get a good player or a high pick rather.
Yeah. I guess what I would say is like it depends on like what you view as like their job in tanking. Is it coming out of it with a high pick or just putting themselves in a position to potentially get a high pick? Because like you could have counted the second half of last season as tanking. It was a fire sale. They let go of guys. But at the end of the day, they didn't end up keeping their pick because the lottery balls didn't fall their way. They were at the 6th best odds. It went the other way and the Spurs got their pick, right? And a lot of people don't like now when you talk about this conversation of rebuilding and tanking, not many people really even accept last year as part of the tank. They kind of think it starts this year when you have a conversation with them because you didn't really come out of it with anything, right? You didn't get a high draft pick, so people forget about that part. So I guess it just depends on what your perspective is. Like, is losing kind of enough games and putting yourself in a chance enough, or do you see a tank and rebuild as in like, well, you have to have high draft picks coming out of it? Like, it's an all or nothing proposition in some people's opinions.
That's a great point. Sorry, go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, it's okay. I feel like like if there's somebody who's like not remembering that the tank started last year, just remember that like the purpose of the tank happening last year was I feel like with the strategy was give that pick to the Spurs so we don't have to draft in that class, and then hopefully the tank will continue and then we can get into this what was originally thought as a much better class, although now I'm seeing more and more stuff that's like, well, it's still better and definitely good, but not maybe as good as we thought it was going to be and all that kind of stuff. So I feel like aiming for this year was always the strategy from like that's been the last like kind of 2-year plan. That being said, like the tank, it's like I know that there are elements of a tank that are happening, but I definitely like maybe it's just been since the Ingram trade, I've seen way more like outside of Toronto outlets talking about how like, well, Toronto's actually like, they're kind of a dangerous team a little bit. Now that they've added this guy, it's like everyone shit on the Raptors so much for making that trade. I saw some things that were like, it was the worst deadline deal outside of, not that Luka was the deadline deal, but like that was the worst trade, obviously. But like outside of that people were saying how getting Ingram was the worst. And I'm like, I don't think you know what it's like in Toronto. I don't think you know how this team has to operate and like the different, the differences in the markets and all that kind of stuff. So, but anyways, that aside is like, since then people have been like kind of a little bit higher on the Raptors and it seems to be coming up. They're noticing, Scotty's game is improving and he's looking really good and like RJ and everything. They're not just looking at contracts all the time, which it felt like a lot of outside of Toronto markets were always kind of like, oh, this is a bad contract, RJ's contract, all this kind of stuff. And now they're looking at the actual players and seeing like, okay, if they get a decent draft pick this year and this tank happens where they're kind of not like, they're not one of the like 4 worst teams in the league. They're not one of the, they're arguably better than a couple of the teams around there. They could have been playing higher if it weren't for a bunch of injuries and stuff. It seems like people are starting to take a little bit more of that into consideration, and they're a little higher on the Raptors than they used to be, and I think that's rising. People are thinking about that, and so this tank that we're all talking about is like definitely not a full on throw it in the garbage season. It seems like just to try and get the better odds is kind of a win, I think, and like if we come out of it with, if the lottery balls don't work, like you're saying, like,
right,
it's the result, right? It's the result we're going to get, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, Oren, I'll let you finish this off.
Yeah. I mean, going back to the Ingram thing, I think if the Raptors don't get a good pick in this lottery, just because, the lottery balls, then yeah, like that trade might look a little bit worse for the people that doubted it, because most people doubted it thinking, why are the Raptors, who are in a position to tank, going to improve their team? So next year, the Raptors definitely will be too good to tank. Just like, this year, if it wasn't for probably a bunch of injuries and them slow playing things and some of the lineups, like just like this year was kind of borderline, we are just bad enough to get down there. So you really need a high pick, I think, this year. And if you don't, it's just going to be that much harder to get it next year with Ingram in the fold. But I appreciate the Raptors front office for trying, and it might not work, but trying to speed up this rebuild to really make it only like a 1.5 year thing. Like you talked about last year was kind of a half year in the tank. This year we're bad. But if the Ingram deal works out and next year works out as the Raptors clearly intend, they actually could be pretty decent. So I appreciate them for that, because there are a lot of franchises who think differently than Masai and are just like, let me get the lottery balls as many years as possible in a row so that eventually maybe we'll be good. And obviously the Ingram deal signals to you that that's not how Masai is thinking. So it might not work, but I do appreciate the sentiment, because as a fan, you don't want to watch the Charlotte Hornets.
Totally.
Yes, that's you can put me in that category. Of,
well said.
Never wanting to be the Charlotte Hornets ever.
And
you can
honestly,
put me right there.
Kind of what I was saying that I was noticing is like people were so down on the trade itself, right? The assets given and what we got and how we basically just paid for the right to pay Brandon Ingram. But now a lot of those same people are looking at the Raptors and going, well, actually it's probably a pretty decent team next year, It's like, well, yeah, that's what you do, right? You improve your team ideally. And again, like if this tank happens the way we all kind of are hoping it's going to continue to happen, then we'll have a decent player from the draft, hopefully, and we'll be able to move on. I think guys who are crapping on the numbers can look at a team,
I think a part of it is like when the season started and Masai came out and said like we're rebuilding. That word has like a lot of connotations to people. And when you hear rebuilding, a lot of people tend to think it's the Pistons or the Hornets, the 4 or 5, 6 years. And then so when you make this Brandon Ingram deal, and rightfully so, some people are like, well, why are you guys trying to improve so fast? You're going to be probably too good next year to tank. And then when Masai and Bobby come out and like say, oh yeah, we're planning on being competitive next year. Well, then you have to start reframing yourself, right? And what you're thinking about this team, or at least some people do. It goes from assuming rebuilding meant 4 to 5 years, and then Masai and Bobby saying, well, no, for us, it was always like 1 to 2 years. Well, then, okay. Well, then if you accept that, then what they're doing makes sense, because they want to get to that point next year.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. No, I think it's a good point. Well, yeah, I think we're gonna call it there. Nice short up. But Zulfi, Oren, Andy, thanks. This is a huge day for me. I can't believe
congratulations.
I won my own show. It's absolutely massive. Shout out Rajon Rondo. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining, and for all the listeners, subscribe to the Raptors Republic channel, like, comment, all that good stuff, and we'll see you next week.